With the NBA being 6 weeks away from an opening night, I want to talk to you guys about why they should be terrified of the Boston Celtics. And even as a Celtics fan, last year I did have my question marks because I thought they would struggle during clutch situations. Tatum would have moments where he wouldn't show up, and there were moments where that did happen. However, as a team, they were just dominant. They were able to overcome adversity. Yes, they benefited from injuries, but injuries do happen in the playoffs. And when you're in the playoffs so many times, consistently, year in and year out, you are going to go through a season where you will benefit from injuries. Now, what happened this summer with the Boston Celtics? Well, Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP, and he got a lot of respect and definitely overcame those flaws from last season with the left hand. He got his max contract, and he showed up all year long. What happened in the summer? The USA Olympics decided not to bring Jaylen Brown. Instead, they brought on Derek White, and there was a lot of conversation about, well, Jaylen Brown should have been on that team because you would have had another creator out there. He's athletic, and he also just won Finals MVP. And then looking at Jason Tatum's summer, he was an NBA champion. There were conversations about Jaylen Brown being the better basketball player, that Jason Tatum has not shot the ball well in the playoffs, and that is very true. The past 2 seasons, he has not shot well. Those are facts. But what happened in the Olympics? He got 2 DMPs. People made a big deal about that situation and how Jason Tatum was being disrespected. And here's my thing. When it comes to Jason Tatum discourse and the conversations that go on, some of them are very nasty. There are fans out there who just hate Jason Tatum for the simple fact that he plays for the Boston Celtics. I think if Tatum was playing for the Lakers, he would still get hate, but the Lakers are a franchise that entertains you. And even if you hate the Lakers at the same time, I think the respect would be different. If he was on like the Thunder, the Bucks, or just another franchise, I don't think he would draw this much hate, in my opinion. With all that being said, when it comes to the conversation about Tatum, it's, well, he's a glorified role player. Those are just casuals who don't know basketball. He can't be a superstar player consistent. That's still up to debate, in my opinion, because there are moments where if you need Jason Tatum in the fourth quarter to get you a basket and bring you home, he has disappeared. There are other moments where he has not disappeared. We've seen that in game 6 against the Bucks. We saw that last year in game 6 against the Sixers, where yes, he was shooting brick shots. However, when you needed him in the last 5 minutes of a basketball game, he showed up and Joel Embiid did not. You look at game 7 in that same series against the Sixers, he had I think 51 points. He outplayed Joel Embiid. And there are times where he does show up. When it comes to other conversations with Jason Tatum, they talk about, well, he has a really good general manager. That's why he's winning so much. He can't help that. You need a good GM to be successful in the NBA. Look at the Golden State Warriors with Stephen Curry. They drafted Klay Thompson, they drafted Draymond Green, and they brought in Kevin Durant, and they kept on winning championships. But people, get mad about this stuff all the time, and they're just a bunch of casuals to me. You look at the LA Lakers, you had Shaq and Kobe. You have to build the right pieces around that duo. So complaining about a super team when it's not Tatum's fault what the GM does because that's not his role. They get a Derek White. People forget that Derek White was a role player on the Spurs. He wasn't averaging these kind of numbers in San Antonio. When he came to Boston, he got better. We look at Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They were drafted by the Boston Celtics, and they have gotten better year in and year out. These are just two guys that have grown into phenomenal players. So to use the general manager card is just lazy analysis, because when your favorite player isn't winning and getting the job done, what is the normal conversation? Oh, they need more help. We saw this with LeBron James in 2018. That roster was terrible, got swept by the Warriors. If you had a better roster, it would have been more competitive. So that's why you need a competent general manager. You need the whole pie to win championships. And the reason why I'm talking about these conversations surrounding Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, because I think this season they are going to be scary good, better than last season. And the NBA should be terrified of what's going on, because you have a motivated Jaylen Brown who feels like he got snubbed from the Olympics. You look at Jason Tatum. He didn't play in 2 games in the Olympic run. He was a second option in 2021. And there were conversations about, oh, Jason Tatum isn't really a superstar. He's not a top 15 player, and he's not better than guys like Embiid. He's not better than Giannis, Luka, Curry, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Jokic, and the list goes on. So if I'm Jason Tatum and I'm coming into this regular season, I'm looking to shut everybody up going forward. Because if Jason Tatum gets back to his normal shooting percentages in the playoffs, he wins Finals MVP. Well, now you're looking at a back-to-back champion. And you could try to keep him out of conversations. You're going to have a hard time doing it because of his resume. Jaylen Brown, on the other end, he is in his prime years. And we saw when he entered his prime last year, he was on a different level. And Jason Tatum, of course, is entering his prime years. So I'm really excited to see how motivated they're going to be and how angry they're going to come out in the regular season, because I hope they do. Because if we get a motivated, angry Jason Tatum, who's tired of the media, who wants to shut up the narratives, and he's finishing better at the rim, he has a consistent mid-range game, and he's not reliant on the three-point shot, the league is in trouble. I understand Kristaps Porzingis is probably going to be out likely until the beginning of January. However, they won the majority of the playoff games without Kristaps Porzingis. They lost 3 games, and he got, I believe, injured in game number 3 or 4 against Miami Heat, and it didn't matter. Yes, he played in the NBA Finals for a little bit, but he still got hurt in that series as well, and they won in 5 games against Dallas. So they know how to play without Porzingis. They got depth with Tillman and Horford and Kornet, if you want to throw them out there for a little bit. And the Celtics retained everybody. They got Holiday locked up, Derek White. Even Sam Hauser signed an extension. I was surprised by that move. They brought that guy in from Creighton who could potentially replace Hauser if they need to trade for another big man. And you still have Cato who could develop into a promising role player. So the Celtics are set up for a lot of success. It just comes down to the hunger of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Are they satisfied with one title? I don't think they are. And I think you've just added fuel to the fire with what's happened this past offseason. And then you have a coach in Joe Mazzulla who's a complete sicko, as JJ Redick says, where he's talking about, I hope there's a target on her forehead. And he's also saying that it's not about defending the title. It's about coming out, being in attack mode constantly. If you look at his mentality, I just love it for this team. He talks about how there's missing banners in Boston. So he's bringing back that pride of winning championships. So for me, I think the Celtics are going to repeat. I know people might not like that because you hate the Celtics, and I know I'm a fan of them. But when I look at both conferences, yes, OKC got better, but they've never been to the finals before. If they end up meeting, I think Boston will still beat them. You look at the Sixers, I don't trust their health. I don't trust Joel Embiid in clutch situations. I trust Maxey. I don't trust Paul George in those moments either. And I think Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are going to be out to prove something this season because, yes, they got the championship. They got over the hump. But now they want to build off this legacy because they have a huge opportunity in front of them to have a dynasty. This is probably the first team since the Warriors that has this much talent to repeat as champions. But again, it really comes down to Jason Tatum, in my opinion, and his mentality towards this season. Yes, you got the championship, but I want to see a different level of Jason Tatum. I want him to go to that level where he's consistent in the fourth quarter, where he doesn't rely on step-back threes, and he's more consistent at finishing at the rim. Those are things I want to see from Tatum. If he does that, look out because the league is absolutely cooked. So if you want to talk about bulletin material for Brown and Tatum, they've got plenty to live off of all season long. And I think what Steve Kerr did was a mistake, not bringing Jaylen Brown on board, DMP and Jason Tatum. Even though I don't have a huge problem with it, I think that's going to fire up Jason Tatum. And the NBA might be in huge trouble this season. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. What do you expect for them this upcoming season? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.